The good news is that some of the ships in the European water they started sailing already, and some other ships are already in the line to start again. But the ships in the American water, it might take some more time. Could be in October, first week or second week. The ship companies, the big management, everybody is ready with the plans and the protocols, and they have already submitted to the CDC, and they are just waiting. We are just waiting to start working on the ship to implement all these rules, and we are ready to work to support our families, to get back our job, and to provide an excellent service to the guests. Well, let me give you a rough idea. When we are ready to go on the ship, and once we start working on the ship, there will be a little protocol. And you know what? When we are ready to work on the ship, our recruiting agent, he will send us, of course, all the details and the instructions, and he will send us a new medical form along with the COVID swab test form also. So that test is mandatory and very important. And once it is okay, only then we are ready to go on the ship. And he will also give us the instructions to gear up properly when we are going to the plane to travel to the ship. And once we reach on the ship, the agent of the company will come to pick we guys, and he will take us to the ship straight. There again, the crew purser will come on the terminal of the ship, and they will do the pre-screening, health screening, and after that again we have to go for a simple COVID test, and then we have to go for a 14 days mandatory quarantine isolation on the ship. This will be for everyone. Once we are isolated, we cannot go anywhere on the ship. We will be isolated only in the cabins. The food and all, everything will be provided to us in the cabin, and don't worry, the salary, everything will be started from the day one. And after this 14 days quarantine, again there will be this corona swab test, COVID-19 swab test will be there, and only when we are negative in this test, only then the doctor will give us a clearance and the certificate that we are ready to work on the ship. And before joining the ship, to work on the ship, the medical officer, the doctor, or the infection control officer, sanitation officer, there will be a big team. They will give us a training, and we will have to follow, we will have to understand, and we will have to give a declaration that we do understand and we will follow all these rules and regulations. And don't get upset and don't be surprised if we don't follow all these rules and regulations. There could be a big disciplinary action for that. So that is very important. And whenever we come on duty, a mandatory screening, the temperature will be taken, and once it is okay, only then we can work on that day. Of course, it will be every day. And if we are not feeling well, or we have any symptoms of flu related symptoms, we have to go back immediately to the infirmary or go in the cabin, and then the medical doctor will come and he will check you properly. If you fail to do that, immediately it could be a problem or a disciplinary action will be taken. So guys, you have to be very, very careful. And when we are working there, we will see a lot of changes. Those changes will be for the good, and those changes will be those will be improved changes. Like for example, the hand wash, everyone frequently we have to wash our hands. Sanitation spray stations will be everywhere. On the entrance of every venue, it will be there. When you are working, you have to wear the mask, and some positions will require to wear even PPE, personal protective equipment kits also. So guys, this is very important. We have to follow all those rules. In the dining room, there will be some changes. There will be a space between two occupied tables, and all the cutlery, silverware will be wrapped by the dedicated staff and in the napkins and the silver, and that wrapped silver, I don't know, we call it actually burritos. I don't know what we call any on other ships. So those wrapped cutlery will be used for the dining experience of the guest. There was a rumor or there was a speculation that there will be, instead of 2 sittings, there will be 3 sittings, and then everything has to be clean, sanitized properly before the second sitting starts or the third sitting starts. Guys, it is a little difficult, and don't forget that the guest capacity of the guest capacity on the ship will be not more than 60%. So that is the maximum, I mean. So there could be a 30%, 40% occupancy of the guest, and the ships will be quite spacious, but for sure it will not look a deserted ship. And so there will be again a same like the open seating factor, open seating concept. People can come anytime, but if we will request them to make a reservation, otherwise they can come anytime. And believe me, the tables, once it has been used or occupied, that will not be used for the next guest. Once, maybe they will open the half of the restaurant for the guest. Once it is finished, all the guests have left or whatever it is, then we will use the other half of the restaurant. And then once every guest has left, then everything will be upside down, nice, neat, clean, sanitized, washed, everything. And before and the after also, of course, when the guests come in the dining room, the dedicated staff will be on the entrance to remind the guest to wash their hands, to sanitize their hands, and all that. They have to wear the mask when they come in the dining room. Of course, when they are having the dinner or when they are having the food, they can remove the mask, of course. And when they finish, they leave the dining room, they have to wear the mask again. In the buffet area, there will be a lot of changes. No self-service. All the food will be served again by the dedicated staff, wearing the mask, hat, apron, gloves, everything. You ask them, you tell them, the guest has to ask them what they need, and then the staff will be serving them. They will give them a table, they will assign them the tables also, and once they are done, they leave. Again, that table will not be used for the next guest. Everything has to be afterwards, has to be nicely, neat, clean, sanitized, washed properly. Gym, not more than 20 guests at a time. And when they leave, everything will has to be sanitized and it has to be closed for some specified time. Once everything is nicely sanitized, clean, only then they will reopen for the next guest. Kids room, not more than 10 kids at a time. And when they leave, all the equipments, the games, the balls, the TV, Wi-Fi, whatever they are using there, it has to be cleaned nicely, sanitized nicely. In the bar also, when they are standing, the guests are standing close to each other. Of course, they can stand close to each other as a guest or as a friends or whatever it is. But when they are talking to each other, they have to wear the mask. When it is if they can maintain the social distancing, of course, if they want to remove the mask, they can remove it. The guests who want to use the elevator will be marked with some marking or something. 3 guests or 4 guests, maximum 4 guests in a elevator, not more than that. Some people, they would love to, they're more precautious, they would like to go with the staircase. Me, if I'm a guest, I will think twice because I'm wearing mask. And believe me, when you walk down the staircase or climb up the staircase with the mask on, guys, oxygen flow will not be there. So I cannot do that. So if I have to do, I will do it for 1 floor or for 2 floors, but not more than 1 or 2 floors. Well, anyhow, this is what we have to follow. We have to remind our guests again and again to wash their hands, sanitize their hands. And people who want to go in the spa, they have to wear the mask. And the person who is giving the service, they will be wearing the mask also. So there are so many things are there. So don't be surprised if the management team is telling you again and again, do this, wearing the mask, wash your hands, tell the guests. Guys, there is no choice because no company can afford to have a single patient who is going to get infected. Guys, this will be a big issue. The guests who come on the ship, they will be using specific floors to stay in the rooms. For example, let's say 3 or 4 floors, of course, with the gaps in between the cabins. And when they leave, the next embarkation, when the guests come, they will not stay in the same cabins. Those cabins will be sanitized, disinfected properly, and then they will be locked. The guests who come on the next cruise, they will be staying on the different floors and different cabins. When they leave, the next guests come, then they will go on the first batch of the cabins. People in the swimming pool, of course, they don't need to wear the mask there. People in the sun lounge, chairs and all that, they don't need to wear the mask. But if people are sitting and standing close to them, then of course they have to wear the mask. People are going there to enjoy the vacation, not to follow so many rules and regulations. If they are forced to do so many rules, to follow so many rules and regulations, guys, they will be upset. But don't forget that if you make a mistake, for example, you do something, you don't change your gloves or you don't wash your hands, you don't sanitize your hands, if some guest is watching, believe me, it's going to be a big boo-boo for you. So guys, we are ready and we are ready to support our families. Guys, all the best to you. If you have any query, don't hesitate to ask me. I will try my best to put in this video. If you are going to ask me about the salary, guys, you know that, like I told you, if there is a 60% maximum capacity on the ship, of course they are not going to hire all the staff. And when they are not going to hire all the staff, and the ship is also they are also spending a lot of money on the guest safety and the crew's training, and they have to follow so many norms and the protocol. The company will be spending a lot of money, so they won't be able to give a good salary to the crew members. So in the beginning, guys, it could be a little disappointing, but believe me, it is still worth to work on the ship, and we will make sure that we fight with the COVID and not with the guest. Great, guys. Thank you. All the best to you.